Good morning, everybody. My name is Maija Manika. I am Ambassador at Large at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, responsible for economic security and also other matters related to economic domain. Welcome to this seminar on the EU agency procurement, an important issue for our export dimension. This is one of the possibilities for us to export and to export safely with safe procurement. First of all, I would like to thank Inga Naumane and Jana Malecka. Those are organizers, main organizers from the EU agency side. Both of them happen to be Latvians. The EU procurement is, of course, interesting for us as an export, having this important export dimension. But it is important to learn how to participate. This is not such an easy thing, but it provides wide spectrum of opportunities, starting from various goods and also many services. So we see a lot of Latvian companies coming, and I see mainly they represent services, ICT, legal, business, medical, educational. Services area looks one of the main interests from our side. So I wish everybody a useful seminar. I see it will be a long day, a lot of information, but when we are dealing with taxpayer money, unfortunately, we also deal with quite cumbersome procedures. Let us call them details. So it is important to understand system in general, but also, of course, to talk to EU agencies. And there's a second part of the seminar where it's possible to talk one-to-one to agency representatives, and this is a good opportunity to ask the questions they're interested in, and I just invite you to use this opportunity. So that is introduction from my part, and I move to my function as moderator of introductory session and give the floor to Solvita Gulbe from Latvian Investment and Development Agency. And she is head of Export Services Division at Export and Innovation Services Department.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. I would like to say the very warm welcome from Investment and Development Agency of Latvia, who is partner for the Foreign Affairs Ministry for this event. Particularly, I would like to say great thank you to my colleagues, Anita Abola, leading the division of Enterprise Europe Network. And this division functions in our institution, Investment and Development Agency, since 2008. And the very beginnings are in 1997. So I would say there is a very well-equipped team in Investment and Development Agency to guide you to the right doors to knock on issues related to public procurement in 14 agencies of the European Union. They will help you to find the right contacts, the right expertise, and the right persons in 14 agencies of the European Union. So the concept of Enterprise Europe Network is such as it functions in 40 member states of the network. One of those is in Latvia. That means that in every European Union member state, also in candidate states, and also in European economic zone states, there are structures in public institutions who can answer detailed issues and detailed questions. For these 40 countries, there is a common concept, no wrong door concept. That means that you can knock any of the 40 countries in institution to ask questions how to deal with technical issues, to export-related issues in a country, to find partners, to find good answers to your questions. And I would like to imply this concept of no wrong door concept also for this seminar. As a concept, there is no wrong question. So be curious, be active to involve, to pose questions, because there is no wrong question on public procurement, on issues which are important to have a victory on competition among companies coming from many countries, to have a very stable partner for your contract. European Union agency that is very stable partner, very good partner who will bring you knowledge, courage and opportunities in very broad territory. So I would like every one of you to encourage to look for Enterprise Europe Network information also in Investment and Development Agency's website, and also to search EEN.lv. There is a lot of information on cooperation with partners coming from European Union, also member states, and also states of European Economic Zone. So I would like to encourage you to contact Investment and Development Agency, my team of EEN, and be courageous today, to be curious today, because we all know that curiosity drives progress. And therefore, I would like to wish all of you very good luck in this seminar and have a very good exchange of views, of information, and good luck. Thank you.
Thank you, Solvita. Now I will move to next speaker, Ruslana Skudryasovas, Head of Administration and Finance Unit at BEREC, body of European regulators for electronic communications, the EU agency situated in Riga, Latvia.
Good morning, thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. As announced already, I'm representing actually the only agency located here in Riga physically. Therefore, we are obviously very interested in this seminar and in spreading knowledge. But what's also very important for us is to show that we are the part of this large network of agencies, bodies across EU, following the same framework in terms of procurement, following the same rules, and that for economic operators who participate in our procurements, they're well equipped, I believe, and can participate in the procurements of other agencies and bodies in the EU. Therefore, I'd like to extend my big thanks to organizers, to Inga, Jana, wishing you a very productive day, and that's, I think, very important for all of us here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ruslanas, and now I move to Zane Petre, Head of European Commission Representation in Latvia.
Thanks a lot, and good morning to you all. Big thanks also from my side to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, to the Latvian Agency for Development, but also to all the EU agencies that are present here today to share your experience and your knowledge and to inform the Latvian participants on what to do and how to be successful in the procurement procedures. And big thanks also from my side goes to Inge Naumann, who was definitely behind this idea, having seen similar events also in other member states. I think until now most of the events that we have also been involved in have focused on various EU instruments that are available for businesses, being it under the Innovation Fund, being it under InvestEU, related to defense. But I think this is another window of opportunity for the Latvian businesses to look into and to see what are the options to participate. In general, I have the feeling that, well, there is never enough information especially if you talk about complicated procedures, about different databases you have to put information in. So this is indeed a unique opportunity to ask questions to the people who are involved in those things on a daily basis and to see what are really the things you have to pay attention to. From our side, the European Commission representation here is also launching certain procurement procedures, and I have a colleague here present today that will also be part of one of the information sessions. But indeed, once again, I think this is maybe a bit of a smaller scale procurement procedures, but it's an opportunity to look at the procedures and to try out and participate. And for us, well, we are looking at two things. It's either events or communication, which is our primarily domain. But at the same time, we also see that not always we get enough companies applying. So please look into it. Please apply and test out your options also here. Yes, so from my side, indeed, just to encourage you to listen, to have a good exchange with the agencies, and definitely there are a lot of options out there for your future. So wishing you a fruitful discussion and also hopefully a lot of good contracts in the future. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And now we are closing our introductory session, moving to the section of procurement by EU agencies, the general section. The moderator Inga Naumann and the other welcome to the stage, so there will be change of the panel on the stage. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Also from my side, thank you also for this opportunity to the Ministry and to the agency, giving us to show what is EU procurement. I would say that we need you, business people, and you need us. I think it's a common need, both sides. It's like in a life, you need two people also to dance. I would say also this is something similar. To have a procurement in place, EU agencies or any of the EU bodies cannot reach it alone, but therefore it's very important and very nice to see that you are here. How many of you have already experience with EU public procurement, be it agency, be it commission? 1, 2? Okay, 2. Good. It's already better than nothing. So this sounds already good, but it means so we have a nice day ahead of us, where the colleagues too that are here with us can also share their experience, how they got to these procurements, and all those who came here for the first time. I think the current presentation on the general EU rules will give you maybe a bit of taste, some ideas what it is, EU procurement. So let's then start with the first slide that I have prepared for you. So we will need to understand how it works. So as you see here, we'll start really with a general information, because I think it's important always to understand how the things are built. If you know how the car is built, you can also repair it. That's why this is my principle, to show you first the general information before we go into the details that my colleagues all here in the room, that I'm very much thankful that they came here to be with you, will go deeper in the details with a small mechanism and details of any of the cars they are driving or are drivers behind in their agencies. and also about information about the EU agencies in general, as well as NAPO. I know currently it looks like for you a bit Chinese, what are these abbreviations, but we are going there. So I will start with the general information, as I said. European agencies have their own financial regulations, but of course they are also built on the higher regulations, which are directives. I'm not sure that many of you know about it, but most of the member states had or have had already implemented these directives in their local legislation. In 2014, there was a reform of the directives, and the idea was to make it much flexible, much simpler, and also to reinforce requirements and strengthen the integrity to prevent the corruption and fraud, because currently this is a very, very trendy topic. As you may know, there is even a new agency, anti-fraud agency, recently established that is called AMLA, and will be having its seat also in Frankfurt, where happens to be also EIOPA, where from myself and Jana are coming, will be located. So this topic is gaining more and more attention. As you see, the idea of the reform was to reach several achievements, and you have also seen that in the world slowly we are going direction digitalization, but now we are one step even ahead of artificial intelligence. But when you will see what the colleagues will show you, and also the colleagues from a Commission side will show you the tools, everything is now digitalized. Years ago, when I started to work in EU, you had to submit papers. You really had to print out your offers, submit several copies, hand sign, but now we have reached the level where EU electronic signature is accepted, and really the world has moved much, much more ahead. And of course, the most economically advantageous tender as a world criteria has gained a lot of weight. This is just a statistical information. I think it's also very important to understand what we are talking about, what kind of money, what kind of pot we are talking about. As you see, this is quite big. So, of course, the agencies do not build such a big pot, but we are part of it. As I mentioned at the beginning, each of us, each of our agencies, being here in a room or being today online, they have their own financial regulations, and our aim is also, of course, to spend public money wisely. As already mentioned by the opening speakers, this is taxpayers' money. This is money of our friends, relatives. They pay taxes, and thanks to that, EU public procurement, money that it's budgeted, we can procure services, works, goods. There is a new version of the financial regulation now in force. It's so-called recast. There are not many changes, but it's, so to say, continuing, improving in the flexibility, modernization, and looking into the new technologies. What is EU1? How many colleagues here in a room, not colleagues, but businesses, have heard about EU1 at all? Is there anybody in the room? We have here 2 colleagues experienced, 1. Very good. So we have at least 1 colleague here in the rooms that have heard about it. This is a network of agencies and decentralized agencies and joint undertakings established in 2006. Also now, more and more, it's a trend in every area of the life that we have to more share and collaborate. This has gained also, I think, a different dimension. And of course, one of the EU1 network's, so to say, tasks is to coordinate, to inform, to exchange the information, and to cooperate on the common issues. And one of those is, of course, a procurement, because each EU agency and body needs goods, services. EU agencies, bodies are located in 24 member states at the moment. There are only few left without any EU body or agency. This map is maybe a bit small. Now the latest agency, AMLA, is not yet mentioned because they are just starting to pick up and starting to being established. As you see, there are many staff members, European officials, temporary agents, and we have also quite many contracted staff. CAs, it means contracted staff. So you see the numbers are quite big. The member states currently without agencies is Croatia and Bulgaria. As you can see, there are no agencies at the moment, and BEREC is marked here in Latvia next to me, so you can see it. There is also a website which I think could be potentially very interesting for you. It's not yet there, but we are working. This website is quite new, and we are working on the idea to put there also a procurement part, where we could put also the procurement opportunities of the agencies. It's not yet there, it's being discussed. It's not so easy to establish a website. Somebody needs behind it, somebody needs to keep and take care of the website. Therefore, it's good ideas, but there need to be also people behind it who will take care of it. But nevertheless, I would suggest from time to consult. There is interesting information, also job opportunities, for example, in all EU agencies. If your relatives, kids, or whatever friends are looking for, it's just an opportunity to have a look and explore a bit the website and learn more about the EU agencies. Now we go already slowly deeper in the topic procurement, NAPO. This is a network of agencies, procurement officers. It's a network that has been already quite long, and we have a very good collaboration between our colleagues. And this is a nice platform to exchange our experiences, views, and we of course also try to gain efficiencies and effectiveness, because our collaboration, it means less administrative burden if we launch some tenders together, so meaning we also can gain some added value on that. Officially recognized in 2017, as has been also here mentioned, it's a bit also bureaucratic, the whole process, procurement, and generally things sometimes in EU maybe are progressing, but we wish that it's progressing faster. So we were established 2009, but officially recognized 2017. So it took some time, but we are now very happy that we are officially recognized. And 49 members plus 20 observers, meaning those agencies like AMLA, anti-money laundering, they are still observers because they haven't gained the full agency status yet. So meaning potentially you have 69 EU bodies, agencies with whom you can cooperate and introduce your businesses, submit your offers, and who knows, maybe you will be awarded a contract. Here is some statistics. As I mentioned, we cooperate together, and as you see, the number of calls and agencies participating has been growing. The number 144, there are not so many agencies, because each agency who participates in a tender, it's counted. So meaning if one agency participates in 3 calls, it's counted 3 times. Therefore, this number 144, how it comes together. Nevertheless, last year, this is, you see, we had 24 inter-agency calls, and this has been also slowly growing. In 24, these 24 calls, as you see, reached nearly 500,000. So, as I said, we are contributing to the general amount spent under public procurement, and I think it's not a small amount of money, which is here in the floor to say. And even bigger is the amount of the interagency calls which are launched by the European Commission, where all the agencies and also representations like Zana is representing here can take part. So it's even above 500,000. So in these calls are also of a big interest for the agencies because it saves us a bit of work, especially in the area of IT services. We tend also to join European Commission's calls, which are of big interest of us. Some lessons learned from what I wanted to say is that we need a higher professionalism on all sides, from our side, from your side, and I would say if we have it, we will have also a good results. So we need to inform each other, and therefore we have this seminar today to get closer to you, to give this opportunity to talk with us, and also we consider this seminar a bit like a training. So we will try to help you that you can pass this knowledge also further to your staff members and encourage them to apply. Maybe you have your colleague businesses, maybe you will do another small seminar between your IT businesses, travel agency businesses, event management businesses, and teach them or tell, look guys, this is how you have to do. All the presentations will be also shared. We have agreed with development agencies that those will be available for you because thanks to them you got invited, you could register, and they kindly offered also to give this opportunity after the seminar to share all the presentations. And I would like to finish my presentation before I give you the floor for quick general questions, because you will hear a lot more from the colleagues, with one quote from the Sam Harris. He said recently, failing to prepare is generally speaking preparing very well to do the wrong thing. I really liked this. Therefore, I say, let's prepare. Let's help each other. We need you, and I hope you need us. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you to my colleagues too. Now we will continue with our program. And the first part, so I promised to give in fact the floor to the questions. I already started to move to the next moderator role. Is there any general questions that you would like to ask on a spot? No. Then I would like to ask the colleagues to come here to take the seats. Our next topic will be strategic relevance, will be procurement needs of participating agencies. So we are going to the first part, strategic relevance of EU public procurement and highlights on the regulatory framework. This is a presentation prepared in cooperation between many colleagues, but two of the colleagues had a chance to come here to Riga. This is my colleague from the European Training Foundation, Barbara, and is it correct? No, it's a wrong, it's Anisa. He's coming from Greece. This is, the AIGA is an agency located in our neighboring country, but Sotiris is coming from Greece. So the colleagues have prepared a hopefully very useful presentation for you.
Thank you, Inga. Thank you to the authorities of the Republic of Latvia for having us. Good morning to all of you, especially to the Latvian economic operators. We are very happy to be here to talk about procurement. As Inga said, my name is Barbara Gotero. I work at the European Training Foundation in Torino, and we also organized last year a seminar similar to this one. What myself and Sotiris from Enirza will be doing is giving you a general overview on procurement and general the principles, the rules, the types of procedures. Okay, so let's start. Has it moved? No. Oh, no, a bit too much. Here you go. Okay, so what is procurement? First of all, procurement is an administrative process with which the contracting authorities, like the EU agencies, purchase supplies, services, and works. The process lays down all the rules that we have to follow when we launch procurement procedures. But procurement is not just an admin process. It's really a key tool for agencies to implement their mandate, because by buying services and supplies through public procurement procedures, you are actually helping us implementing our objectives and our mandates. The services and supplies we buy are complementary to our internal resources to achieve and to implement our tasks. This is why it is so important that we are actually buying quality services and supplies at a good price. And this is so important that not only you apply to our procedures, but you also then deliver, once you win the contract, quality services and supplies at a high level, because you're really helping us to be able to achieve our objectives. And if we achieve our objectives together, what we are doing is we're actually giving better services to the EU citizens. When we do procurement, we're not just doing a process, we're not just implementing our mandates, but we're also supporting strategic objectives that are set at EU level. So we, as Inga said this morning, we're helping the EU market, so we're fostering the EU market. We're innovating, we're buying new types of services and supplies. We're putting some green and social considerations in our tenders. So we might buy furniture that has green labels, or we might buy a website, request that a website is designed for people with impaired visibilities. So procurement, you can see how key it is. It's not just about applying rules. It's really about achieving something which is important for the EU society. As Inga said this morning, there is a lot of money spent on procurement. So we were talking about 15% of the GDP. You will be hearing this afternoon from the agencies that all of them have varying budget expenditure. Big ones have big budgets, smaller ones have smaller budgets. At the level of the EU, only about 20% of the procurement that is done is actually made public. So it's publicly available, which is not a lot, 20%. But in this, EU agencies and EU institutions are different, because all of our procurement, unless the very, very low value ones, is published, is advertised on either our website or the Funding and Tenders portal. And this afternoon, the colleagues will show you the portal where you can find all our procurement procedures. So just to summarize the role of procurement, which is all in one slide very quickly, it's an administrative process, it's a key tool, there's lots of money involved, and it's public and open for you to apply. So what is the legal framework? We apply the regulation, the financial regulation. It lays down all the rules, all the types of procedures that we can use. It is based on the directive that you saw in the previous presentation. So it is similar, it's based on that. The directive doesn't actually apply directly to agencies, so that's why we have our own regulation. You will find in most of the tender documents the actual rules and procedures that apply to the single tender, so you do not need to go and read the regulation in full. Principles. These are the principles up there: transparency, equal treatment, non-discrimination, proportionality, widest competition, sound financial management. I like to put it really simple. So when we do procurement, we have to be open and transparent, which means we have to explain what we are going to do and how we are going to do it. We have to be consistent, which means that whatever we say, we have to then do as agencies, because the objective of procurement, the final objective, is that we create an equal and fair standing for all the suppliers to be able to apply. So all of those principles are really involves in 4 words: open, transparent, consistent, and remember, fair, equal standing, open to all. So the legal framework defines the types of procedures that agencies use, and I'll give the floor to Sotiris.
Thank you very much, Barbara. My name is Sotiris Daniel, I'm coming from ENISA, and in the next few slides I will present some crucial elements related to procurement. In the current slide, as you can see, we have the most common procurement procedures. It is the open one, the restricted, and the negotiated. In this slide, you can see a very specific number, 140,000. This is the threshold in which these certain procedures apply. Let's start with the open one, which is the most widely used. It's open to all economic operators, and we are talking about the procurement procedure that has a minimum 32 days for the economic operators to submit their offer. For the restricted ones, it is a 2-step procedure. In the first step, it's the same days as the open one, 32, and everybody can provide their offer. And in this first step, everybody is assessed against the exclusion and selection criteria. In the second step, only those companies who have passed the first one will be assessed, and we will send the contract authorities the tender specifications in order to be assessed by the contract authority in order to award the contract. The last one is the negotiated. Here you can see 3 different kind of thresholds. When we have a need for service or supplies below the threshold of 15,000, we can award the contract directly to with one single tender. When the need is between 15,000 and 60,000, the contract authority must send the invitation to at least 3 tenderers, and for the amounts between 60 and 143, we're obliged, according to the regulation, to receive offer from 5 candidates. All these procedures concerning, especially the negotiated, are based on the principle that they have to be an expression of interest from these economic operators. This publication usually is being done in the website of each contract authority. And in any case, we're not talking about 32 days or more, we're talking about shorter timescales. One very common word for economic operators that they should know is the CPV. What is the CPV? It's the common procurement vocabulary. The CPV established the EU single classification system for public procurement. Every time that you see a tender, there is a 9-digit which is associated with the wording that describes the subject of the contract. If I may go one step back, as my colleagues mentioned earlier, all these procurement procedures can be found in the funder and tender portal. In the funder and tender portal, also, apart from the information that I have described concerning the amount, you will find this CPV. This CPV is very crucial for doing business with us, because you can identify if this type of services and products can be delivered from the economic operators to the agencies in the European Commission and the agencies. Let's see in a nutshell the procurement process. As you can see, there are 5 steps. It's the planning, the publicity, the opening evaluation, the contract award, and the performance of the contract. In these 5 steps, it is the contracting authority who is preparing the needs and drafting the specifications. They are selecting what kind of procurement procedure we will initiate. We define the selection and award criteria. As I already mentioned, we are publishing all these documents in the funder and tender portal. And then we set the deadline, and in this period we're waiting your submission as well as the questions that you might have for this procedure, and we're obliged to reply to you after a certain period. If we have an open procedure, the opening has to be public, meaning that when the time comes for the opening, you have the right to send an email to us and attend the opening, which usually nowadays is being done virtually. The next step concerning is the evaluation. We evaluate your offers according to exclusion, selection, and award criteria. We have 2 types of award criteria, either the lowest price, or if we decide to have also quality, then there is a certain percentages attributed to the quality and the price of the offer. Then, when this evaluation has been finalized, we have the award decision, we sign the contract, and we publish the results in the official journal of the European Union. The last part of this procurement process is related to the performance of the contract. Meaning we have a contractual document that both sides, the contracting authority and the contractor, have to obey and implement according to its provisions. Of course, in this contract, we're waiting from your side to receive supplies or services in the way it is described in the certain articles. In the contract, we have also the time limit for the payments. We use the e-invoicing, and the contract authority is obliged to pay within the limits, and if something is beyond the certain limit of 30, 60, or 90 days, we have to pay some interest. As I mentioned before, concerning the contracts, we have 2 types of contracts. We have the framework contract and the direct contract. What is the framework contract? We define, the main difference is that, let's start with the easy one. A direct contract, we know from the beginning the subject, we know the exact quantity and the delivery times, and there is a fixed price which corresponds to the tender's financial offer. And from the beginning, we have this document that will be implemented from day 1 until the end day of the contract. The framework contract, it's a tool, let's say, which, as the direct contract, defines the subject, but we don't have the exact quantities and delivery times at the time that we sign it. No matter what, there is a ceiling concerning the budget that we cannot go beyond it. And its implementation is done through the specific contract or order forms that will define the quantity, the delivery, and the price. For the framework contract, we have three types. It's a single, with one contractor, in cascade, up to 3, and reopening of competition. So the contractors that have signed the framework contract, they will compete again in order to find the one that will sign the specific contract. As Inka mentioned, we're trying to implement more and more interagency procurement procedures. This results in economies of scale and efficiency. These contracts are for horizontal services, for example, AI for communication, HR, and expertise training. In the interagency procurement procedure, there is the contract authority who has the lead and implement the procurement procedure from start until the end, and has also the overall contract management, and all the rest of the contract authorities, they will be able to participate and execute the specific contracts and receive the deliverable and pay the services and supplies. The economic operators in all these procurement procedures, they might be able to submit by themselves, or also they can be part of a group of economic operators. And also, tenderers may rely on subcontracting due to the fact that specific tasks cannot be performed by themselves. In this slide, you can see all the decentralized agencies that are part of this seminar today and will be able to present their procurement procedures and being asked questions concerning procurement. And this was my last slide, okay, the next one is thank you, and thank you in the Latvian language, I guess.
Do you have any questions? Or shall we start with a question for the audience ourselves? Has any of you, so you've heard that we do a lot of joint tendering. I think that if agencies who have participated in a joint tender raise their hand in the room, most of them. What about you? Have you ever bidded also for your local, for your national public tenders? Have you ever bid together in a joint tender? Can you raise your hand? No? You've always one? Oh, okay, one. We have one. Have you ever worked as a subcontractor for a bigger firm or for a bigger supplier? It's quite important to look at procurement also from the perspective of this pooling together on both sides, because sometimes, especially the directive had a lot on small, medium enterprises, which is a big scale of EU tenders. Economic operators are actually SMEs, but the micro SMEs, so the really small ones, actually have a very low access to public procurement. So if any of you are these small SMEs, this is an opportunity either to bid together with other tenders or to work as a subcontractor. It's a good opportunity. It's another way of bidding, and I think it's a good opportunity. Are there any questions in general on the procedures? Yes, please.
So we have the procedure, you are the winner, and we send you the contract. And you want to not to sign it. It's my understanding correct?
So it's from when we actually sign the contract. So maybe if we get back the slide. So during the tendering procedure, so when you submit a tender, so while you are preparing the tender, you can submit a tender, and then you can actually in the portal withdraw the tender. or so you can decide during the process itself to withdraw your tender. So that's the first part of the process where you can decide as a supplier to step back. We can also launch a procedure and then decide maybe to abandon the procedure. I think it's quite rare. I must say, as ETF, we actually have never done it. So it's because we do, most of the procedure work on a yearly or 5-year planning, and usually because we have to achieve a very specific mandate, the procurement procedures we launch are actually really planned. We would not launch to then abandon. It wouldn't, not. I see some colleagues are going like this, but in general, we should not do that. But you can actually submit and then decide to withdraw in the timing up to the submission. Once you have submitted, your tender will be opened and evaluated. So at that point in time, I assume that you can send a letter saying that you do not want anymore to participate. And at the same time, we could also, at that stage, decide to abandon for many different reasons. One could be that none of the tenders actually meet the award criteria, technical. This afternoon, the colleagues will explain better what award criteria are and selection criteria. So it could be that none of the tenders submitted actually are up to the standard or to the criteria. Okay, the contract then is signed. What happened? Okay, usually we sign framework contracts of 4 years, so it's more rare that we sign a direct contract. It's more common that we sign a framework contract. Framework contracts have a 12-month cycle. And usually the standard clause is automatic renewal. So after 12 months, the contract is automatically renewed for other 12 months, then for other 12, for other 12, maximum 4 years. At that point, at the 12 months point, actually 3 months, usually most contracts, 3 months before the 12, any of the two parties can step out without any reasons. So you don't need to say why you're stepping out, but you can decide to step out. Because really, we are only committed for the first 12 months, although there is this automatic renewal. Okay, so that's the first time that you can decide to step out. The other time, so most contracts also have another clause, another termination clause, which is linked mostly to performance, to extreme circumstances. There you need to look into the contract because there are standard clauses. So many contracts nowadays after the COVID have a clause which says that if something happens similar to the pandemic, both parties can step out. This clause is a new clause. It was not there before the pandemic. It's not in all the contracts. You would have to look into the contract. And then there's like a very long termination clause on all the different reasons you can terminate a contract. Most of them are linked to bad performance or low quality performance. It can happen that a contractor decides to step out. I have experience of a contractor that decided that the contract was not anymore sustainable for them. Of course, they informed us because this is what is really important. It's a two-way relationship. We are away from the old times where the contracting authority was imposing on the suppliers. I think it's a relationship. So if you find out that you have an issue, which might even be that that contract is not sustainable anymore for you, you come back to us and you tell us, and it means that we will agree, with the ETF, what happened in our case, we agreed to take it to the 24 months, and then at that point, this gave us the opportunity to relaunch on our side and to close the contract in an amicable way at the 24 months. Because, as we said in the first slide, we really most of us do not have a lot of internal resources. So we use services that we purchase on the market really to complement our internal resources to achieve our objectives. And I mean, our objectives are really services for the EU citizens. I mean, we're not buying just for the sake of buying. We're buying because we're actually doing, all of us, either regulatory agencies or agencies like mine, we are actually achieving a mission which is useful for the EU citizens. So that's the reason why it's a two-way relationship. So I think, I don't know if I've answered your question. I don't know if you want to add something.
What Barbara said is, until the moment the contract has been countersigned, just before, there are no legal obligations from your side. If you sign it, there are legal obligations which are described in specific articles in the contract.
Wojciech, you wanted to add something?
Eurofund agency in Iowa. You are probably very much used to public procurement because usually in Latvia it's the same like in every other country. We are not so much different. It's just a different way of advertising and sometimes we are a bit distant from the national level. But I think it was very important for official SMEs. You were told about different procedures, open, restricted, negotiated. The procedures below 142,000 euro, which actually is not such a small amount, they are advertised locally by every agency, but they are also visible through the funding and tendering portal. Why am I mentioning that? Because you can look at different agencies, choose which of them are in your, let's say, you have interest in them because of what they do. You can just sign up to the page and you can track your advertisements. And whenever there is a tender below 150,000, you have an opportunity to express interest. The colleague said that for the negotiation procedures below 150,000, we only have to invite minimum 3 people or tenders if this is the value of the contract up to 60,000 and we have to invite minimum 5 if the tender is up to 150,000. But the reality is that we actually invite not 3 or 5, but everybody to express interest. Because we are actually pushed to invite as many as possible because we want to open the market. So if you express interest in any tender, you are 100% sure that you will get a certification. So you can then have access to the document that you can read where you are really interested. Because usually what you see on our pages are just very basic information about our future tender. Let's say the topic, the value, and the timing. Let's say quarter, first, or second of the year. But if you just sign up that you are interested in a specific tender, you will get all the details. And I think that's really important for the small and medium small enterprises. That you just keep looking at what's coming on the market, and thanks to that you're getting access to the detailed information. And I really encourage, because what we see in our agency is that these local companies usually they are trying to get the step between the two by contracting with us for smaller contracts, and then they grow, and actually they sometimes using us as a stepping stone to work with the Commission and bigger institutions, because we are small. Our contracts are for, I mean, some of us are small, but our contracts are relatively small. But by doing business with us, you are getting experience, and then you can go for much bigger contracts. And I think that's a good idea through which we can also help enterprises to grow. So really, look at our pages. This information is there, and it's, I think, the best way of getting into the business.
To add, for the small contracts negotiated procedures, Berek is sitting next to me, so don't forget to go to their website, because for the small contracts where not many agencies together are working, they will launch it on their website. Just to also complement what my colleague said, also when theoretically we as a contracting authority could cancel still it in a tendering procedure if we ourselves realize we made an administrative error. It's a human error, might be typo, but sometimes typos are very important and might change even the subject or anything. In this case, we are obliged to cancel it, not to lead you to something wrong to procure where we already noticed there is a human error. These cases we might cancel. One thing that quite often we receive, at least the questions, prices are rising, there is inflation, can I raise my price? No, you have signed a contract and there is a clause. Normally, only after the first year there is a price revision clause. And this is also for you important when you submit an offer. Think about prices that you are offering. They will have to be valid at least 1 year. I saw there another hand of the... I will maybe just give a quick answer. You mean a planning stage, which procurements we are launching? No. Yes, okay, this is what my understanding. So as my colleague said here, it's aim of our each separate agencies, and we have our annual work plan. In our annual work plan, for example, we have to deliver certain results, and for reaching these results we need certain services or goods or works. So businesses are not involved in the planning phase. This is an agency's tasks, agency's founding regulation, what they have to deliver upon, and this is also of course decided then at the management level of each agency, regular annual work plan. Was that the question?
We might do, okay, well, I'll give the floor to Frontex as well, but we also do a market. I mean, some of us, depending on the type of procedures, we might do a market research where we contact a series of suppliers, or we really put out a call for understanding better the needs, so that then our staff can draft the technical specifications. But I think the colleague from Frontex.
So in the past it was more difficult to terminate the contract. local authority, or it was not sustainable, but you had to prove certain things. Now you don't need to prove anything, because your strategy, business strategy changed, just you notify and with a certain notice period. In the past, the templates of procurement were not including those clauses. Now, because it's more bilateral, more mutual, this relationship, that you have responsibility. So don't be scared. Every time, for each region, change the strategy, you notify, and you tell the owner without consequences if you fulfill the notice.
Yeah, I mean, probably that's important. So if you terminate, it doesn't mean that you go on a blacklist or something like that. I mean, you can bid next time, even for the same subject matter. So remember that as well. And maybe also for the planning, sometimes to draft a technical specification, we might procure an external consultant that helps us draft very specific technical specifications. So that could also happen. And then, of course, that technical expert will then not bid for the big tender. Any other questions? No? Okay.
Thank you very much, Barbara. Thank you very much, Sotiris. Now we will go to the part where the agencies will present themselves. And unfortunately, not everybody of us was able to come to Riga. You know, there is also sometimes constraints of budget, sometimes it's a mission budget. And of course, we also quite a lot pay attention to the green, meaning if we are traveling, so it means CO2 emission. So we are also very conscious in the agencies on that topic. And there is a part where the agencies will present themselves only online. Unfortunately, to those agencies, you will not be able to ask questions, but we here in the room, it's a great group of colleagues here. We sure we will be able to answer those questions. Of course, not if it's related to their mandates, because then you will have to reach out to the agencies. And I would say if we are ready, we could switch to the online colleagues. They will present their mandates and their procurement needs one by one.
Presentation. Yes, good morning all. It's a real pleasure to be here today with you. I am representing EUOSA. EUOSA is the information agency for occupational safety and health. It's located in Bilbao, in Spain. Our mission is to make Europe's workplaces safer, healthier, and more productive. Within our strategy, we focus on 6 main areas, which are thinking ahead, gathering and sharing information, developing tools, raising awareness, and networking knowledge. In this line, our procurement focus and needs relate mostly to occupational safety and health field, mostly, normally in the form of expert articles, case studies, surveys, research activities, but also by procedures in other fields such as communication and promotion, evaluation services, general administrative and logistics fields, and ICT. In these last 2 cases, EUOSA is taking part quite often in interinstitutional call for tenders with the European Commissions and other agencies or bodies. As regards our procurement budget, we have an average of 6 to 9 million every year, and an average of around 20 or 30 procedures. In our case, as on many other cases, where to find our procurement information, we invite you to consult regularly our website, And of course, the funding and tenders portal, that is the main tool for the economic operators to have updated information on all the procurement related opportunities at EU level. And to finalize, we would like to share with you our top procurement tip, which is that we invite you to always take full account of procurement documents. They will tell you the who, the what, the when, the how, and where, and also to address all aspects, even if you have previously worked with the contracting authority. Thank you so much. I give the floor now to the next one. Thank you.
Good morning, colleagues. Thank you. Greetings from Budapest, CEPOL, the European Union Agency for Law Enforcement Training. From our new building, will be inaugurated tomorrow. So we are quite a small agency with around 120 colleagues. Our mandate is as an EU training agency working with and trusted by a wide range of law enforcement organizations since 2000. Our previous seat was in the United Kingdom, in Bramshill, and we are in Budapest since 2014. We have also international cooperation projects with third countries, Western Balkan countries, EU South Neighborhood, counter-terrorism projects, TOPCOP projects. With Moldova, we have a bilateral project. Our mission is making Europe a safer place through law enforcement training and learning, and facilitating the prevention and fight against serious and organized crime through trainings, cross-border cooperation, vocational trainings. Our vision is to be an EU hub for law enforcement training and to provide law enforcement officials with all the knowledge and means they need today and in the future. So our procurement needs are connected to these activities, mainly training-related services, content development services, interpretation for these international projects, mainly communication services like promotional items. For example, we have also a short-term expert call based on a specific article of the financial regulation. We have also the travel procedures, contracts, and ICT also for the projects, and also the CSU-related procedures that we need to run an agency. We have around 25-30 procedures per year. The number of signed contracts in the last year was, so signed contracts means order from specific contracts, was around 350. Our procurement plan for this year is also published on our website. Please consult our website. And finally, our top procurement tip, don't leave the submission for the last minute. Thank you for your attention, and I give the floor to the next colleague.
Good morning from Helsinki, where the European Chemicals Agency is located. So the mandate of the agency is to achieve chemical safety through science, collaboration and knowledge. So in practice, we are responsible for technical, scientific and other administrative tasks that are related to the implementation of the EU chemicals legislation and policy. And more generally speaking, we are also here to provide a transparent, independent and high quality scientific opinions and decisions to help the European Commission to decide on chemicals restrictions, for example, for the future. Primarily, our procurement focus and needs every year are on IT services, because most of the services we provide are also knowledge, so having lots of IT databases and tools for the public and industry to be able to access chemical knowledge. Scientific services, of course, such as consultancy, studies, any sort of testing of some chemicals, and in particular for this year we will have several procurements regarding support to the new water framework directives implementation, or on studies regarding to new nanomaterials. Communication services, and also some more administrative services, such as on the optimization of the use of the buildings, as well as some support for the potential new buildings in which ECHA may be moving in the future, as well as regular services such as medical services. Regarding the procurement information for 2025 budget, we will have a bit over 22 million euros to be spent on procurements and contracts. You can find the details on our website. Indeed, we will have 9 new procurements foreseen for this year, where hopefully you can find something of interest for you. And for 2024 in total, including also indeed specific contracts and direct contracts, we sign over 368 contracts in total. Our top procurement tip would be for you to really read closely the award criteria and ensure to the maximum extent possible that your technical offer follows the same structure as the award criteria, so that you can make sure that the evaluation committee will then have all the information regarding the award and regarding your offer. Thank you.
The summertime is sometimes tricky. So my name is Andrej Radecký. I come from Bratislava, Slovakia, where is one of the youngest agency called European Labour Authority. We started officially in 2019 and gained autonomy in 2021. So since then we procure and operate as a decentralized entity. Our purpose is linked to few keywords. So the first is enforce. So as the name of authority indicates, our role is to intensify enforcement actions within EU in the area of labor inspections. So what we do is particularly targeting cross-border inspections in area of transport, construction, agriculture, etc. In addition to that, we provide also mediation services. That's a novelty where we are trying to resolve disputes on EU labor mobility among member states. Secondly, it's an information. We try to reach out to our citizens and public with various communication campaigns covering topics such as undeclared work, seasonal work, road transport, or posting of workers in construction sector. Importantly, we run a database and activities of EURES. This is an acronym for European Employment Services, and this tool is much older than ELA. Last year it had 30 years of existence. This tool provides European online job days platform that serves for job matching. Also related campaigns that are reaching workers, employers and stakeholders, using various tools such as campaigns, videos, social media, and outdoor adverts. Thirdly, we also provide knowledge to national authorities mainly and social partners, various trainings, capacity building activities, such as areas such as free movement of workers, services, social security coordination. We produce studies, reports focusing on posting of workers, third country nationals, artificial intelligence, or social security for persons coming from Ukraine, for example. In order to deliver all this, we rely on the market. We regularly turn to you in order to purchase services, supplies, and works, and these kind of tools are necessary to function our agency. So we are procuring basically analysis, e-learning tools, capacity building, and consultancy services. And as regard the functioning of the agency itself, a lot of services and goods for ICT, information and communication technology. So basically, despite all the distances between us, we welcome you also to check our procurement opportunities that might be of your interest. Use the open market in full, and the only tip would be to follow also our website, bookmark, and see what we are planning for you and what might be suitable for you. Thank you very much for your attention.
Hello, good morning, everybody, and thank you for your interest in working with the European Union agencies. My name is Santia Muero, and I work for procurement sector at the European Fisheries Control Agency, which is located in Vigo, in northwest of Spain. EFCA has its official seat here since 2008 and has experienced a huge growth over the last couple of years, going from 60 staff members to over 100 at present. Our mission is to promote the highest common standards for control, inspection, and surveillance of fishing activities under the Common Fisheries Policy, organizing coordination between national control and inspection activities to ensure the rules are respected and applied effectively. Our main activities include training, daily exchange and monitoring of information, coordination and inspection activities through the chartering of 3 patrol vessels and 1 aircraft, and also cooperation with sister agencies such as Frontex and EMSA, supporting national authorities in Coast Guard functions. Our priority area is EU waters, but we also operate outside of them. Regarding our procurement plan for 2025, we will be part of 3 interagency tenders on facilities, services and workplace improvements, both led by our colleagues in Fusion for Energy, and on intermediary services for staff training, led by the European Union Agency for Asylum. These 3 fall under administrative procurements, and for the operational side, EFCA will focus on the procurement of remote control technologies on board EFCA patrol vessels, the charter of fisheries patrol vessels, which represents our biggest procurement, services in the field of marine surveying, and regarding aircraft services for aerial surveillance, we have recently signed a specific contract under Frontex framework contract. In general terms, our average annual is on the increase, with over 3 million euro in 2024, but there is always a peak year when launching the open call for the chartering of vessels, whose value is between 60 and 90 million euro. The average annual number of procedures is also on the increase, with more than 20 last year, 2024, plus also the calls for expression of interest of fisheries and Coast Guard area experts who are natural persons. In average, we have more than 25 framework contracts in place and work with more than 40 different suppliers, many of them Spanish, but also from other nationalities. If you are interested in our agency, you may find more information on the website, where there is a dedicated section for procurement under Work With Us tab. And to wrap up this presentation, our top tip would be to use or even recruit an experienced bid writer in case you decide to participate in an important call for tenders. Thank you for your attention.
So I'm representing Fusion for Energy. My name is David Guardia. I'm a senior procurement officer that deals mostly with operational procurement, which is the technical side of things, and I'll explain to you what that is in a few moments. In terms of mandate and tasks, our emphasis or reason for being is very much the ITER project. The ITER project is an experimental reactor being built in southern France. It's actually the largest fusion project in the entire world. And this is why we started and what we've been working on. However, the last few years, this initial mandate or task has branched out a little bit in terms of promoting a knowledge base and industrial commercial base dedicated to fusion and future fusion plants. So we're very much focused on reaching out to smaller companies, medium-sized companies, and having them engage in our supply chains to create the knowledge and the experience that will be required in a future that we think will have more emphasis on fusion. If you go to the right of the slide, you have a snapshot of our procurement data for the last couple of years, or the last 2 years. It is quite sizable. You can see the value of the contracts, both in operational and administrative. Again, operational is more the technical side of things. And in terms of 2025, we expect to keep this same rhythm, meaning we expect to have at least 30 or 35 operational contracts. Some are big, some are small, but even the big ones, we like to engage smaller companies, and we provide a platform for these smaller companies to find out about us. Before I get into the last step, which is the tips and how to engage with us, the center of the slide gives you the breakdown I was speaking about earlier. So we have, in terms of our procurements that you will see on our website, there's two main categories: the operational, which is more technical, and the administrative, which supports the Fusion for Energy organization. In terms of the operational, we break it down into three other areas. The first bullet being the technological development programs. So these are focused both on ITER and on building the industrial base and knowledge that I was speaking about earlier. So this is where we want smaller and medium-sized companies to take a look and see if they can contribute to us or work with some of our partners to develop the fusion talent in Europe. Bullet number 2 is more the nuts and bolts of ITER. So we're now beyond the initial design phase. So we're starting to manufacture the different components that have to go into the reactor. So it's very much taking BTPs or final specifications and starting the actual manufacturing of the components and actual vessel that will be the reactor in the future. So there's a lot of diverse work here, both in terms of straightforward manufacturing of different components, dealing with different materials, but also, engineering, project management, et cetera, and assembly activities. Finally, number 3, in terms of ITER and future fusion projects, is the actual site and the actual buildings. So there's a bit of construction, or quite a bit of construction, still going on at the site in southern France, and you can find out about these opportunities on our webpage. Category number 2, much smaller in value, but also very important, is the support procurements for the organization. So here we have the typical things like libraries and subscriptions, audiovisual and media monitoring and support, different softwares that we require, training broker, which is quite interesting. We prefer not to have a call every time we need training, so we actually have training brokers that look after this for us, and they win this based on procedures. And finally, support services, which is just the nuts and bolts in terms of what you need in an organization. Finally, and very important, we do have a web link, which is the industry portal, and here the information is very well presented in terms of market surveys, information days, and actual upcoming calls. There's also a very good tool there for companies to present their services to other companies and even inform Fusion for Energy about what it is that you're doing or how you think you can contribute, and we would, of course, reach out to you. The main message or the main takeaway is that we're very much proactive in terms of engaging new companies and SMEs. So, don't be intimidated by the fact that this is fusion, by the fact that this is a huge international project. It's quite the contrary. You know, we want smaller companies, we want regular companies to inquire about us. So please do visit our website, and if you have any questions, just send them to me or through the website to F4E. That's it.
Hello, good morning, everybody. Apologies for the late arrival, but indeed there was a slight confusion with the time difference, I think, between the Netherlands and Latvia. So just to give a very brief presentation of Eurojust, we're slightly smaller than the Fusion for Energy who just presented. We're based in The Hague in the Netherlands, and basically our mandate is to make Europe safer. And how do we make Europe safer? We coordinate the work of the national authorities in investigating and prosecuting transnational crime. So that's our mandate, that's shown on the left of the slide. And like most agencies, to do this, we need to buy supplies and services. In the middle section of the slide, you can see it's based on two areas for our operational work. And the nature of our operational work means that we require quite a lot of IT services in terms of development and security. That inevitably means we need software, hardware, and then other more on the operational side as well, interpretation, hotel services. These are the type of services that we require for our operational work. Again, we also then to maintain our site, to maintain our building and the facilities, then we need the more facility services such as those for catering, security, cleaning and facility management. So the type of services that we're buying year in, year out. Procurement, not huge. We've got total budget for running the agency is close to 70 million, and we estimate that approximately 28 million of that goes through procurement. Approximately 211 contracts that are in force. And the procedures that we run, we don't run a huge amount, more or less 12 per year, and then we join an additional 12 procedures run by other institutions. So that can be other agencies or the Commission. We do have shared procedures. Both Europol and EMMA are based in The Hague as well, so it's quite handy to have the shared procedures. For example, for things like catering, now we have a shared procedure in place with Europol, which tends to help. A tip, I've just written 3 words there: concise, precise and complete. And just to get into a little bit more detail on that, what we tend to find is that a lot of companies, when they're tendering, they put a lot of generic information in their bids, so they're not very concise, sort of a generic sales brochure, and this is not what really we want. It doesn't help our evaluation committee in trying to decide the strongest offer. So I suggest to try and avoid any generic information, but to be more precise, to exactly what we request in terms of a technical tender, make sure that reflects then the award criteria that we've published. So be precise there, and lastly then be complete, because what we do find is that we're missing documentation or information that's not there. So those would be my top tips: would be concise, precise and complete. Thank you very much.
Yes, good morning, everyone. My name is Lisa Broval, and I work as a procurement officer at EFSA in Italy. If we can find our slide, EFSA stands for the European Food Safety Authority, and we are based in Parma. And as you can see here on the screen, our mandate and tasks is to work on safety in the food and feed chain from farm to fork. And we deal with human, animal and plant health. And we also work on the risk assessment of food and feed in the European Union. And we give independent scientific advice to the European Commission so that they then can take decisions on different regulations. And we also deal with publication of data and assessment of scientific data. So our primary procurement focus and needs is mainly on scientific services related to data collection and analysis. And the areas are in chemistry, toxicology, nutrition, agronomy, veterinary, biology, statistics, and data science. And then, of course, we also need services to run the agency. So there we speak about all different corporate and logistical services. And we do have quite a few procurement procedures per year. Last year we ran almost 50 procurement procedures, and we had also 11 grant procedures. And our budget for procurement is around 80 million. And you will be able to find more information on our procedures on the link that we have published here on the screen. And perhaps just to mention then that EFSA is one of the agencies that can grant. Not all agencies can do that. So we can support scientific work via grants. And for EFSA, we have a restricted list of around 350 organizations that can be granted funds from EFSA. And you will find more information on that in the YouTube link that we have added there for you. So thanks a lot for having us.
Thank you very much to all the colleagues. As you have seen, so the agencies are different sizes, as mentioned at the beginning, meaning different budgets, from very small to very big, as you saw also. And in fact, the lesson learned for me is the time zone has to be really mentioned on a program, because somehow, yes, we live in a Europe, come here in Latvia, and we think we are in a Central Europe, but in fact this is kind of reminder for us that this is important maybe to mention next time on the agenda for everybody is a time zone. I think everybody has deserved the coffee after this first part. Thank you for listening. Coffee break, 20 minutes.